I want to start with Jeffrey Epstein, and I want to be very clear about what this video is and what it's not. This is not about gossip, it's not about lists of names, and it's definitely not about sensational details. This is about understanding the mentality behind pedophilia. Because Epstein wasn't an accident, and he wasn't some chaotic monster who lost control. He was, on the other hand, very well organized, very well orchestrated. And that should really scare you because it really bothers me. Epstein didn't behave like someone committing a crime in panic. He behaved like someone running a system. There were routines, reputation, recruitment, payments. Everything was predictable. There was kind of a project plan. That immediately tells us something really important, that this wasn't just desire spiraling out of control. This was control being exercised deliberately. Pedophilia at its core is the sexual abuse of children. Full stop. That's it. But the sick mentality behind it is what allows that abuse to happen calmly, repeatedly, and of course, without fear, without any guilt. Epstein understood something very clearly, very fundamental. Children are easier to dominate than adults. They are easier to confuse, easier to silence, easier to discredit later, and he built something around that understanding. And it's not only limited to children, it's also limited to teen girls because they were powerless, because they were maybe coming from some needy background, because they didn't have a voice, because people knew that even if they raised voice, their opinions or their facts wouldn't still matter. So, if you listen to survivor accounts very closely, what stands out isn't violence at the beginning, it's normalcy. They weren't dragged into danger, they were invited, paid, reassured, often brought in through other girls. The environment was calm, reassuring, normal. Adults around them behaved like nothing unusual was happening. That's not accidental. That's grooming done properly, timely. Grooming isn't about romance, it's about removing resistance before it forms. It's about making a child adapt to power and then pretending that adaptation is consent. And this is where people get uncomfortable because we like simpler stories which make sense, which reassures or reconfirms our bias. We want abuse to look violent. We want villains to look deranged. We want victims to react perfectly, timely. But Epstein didn't look deranged. He looked pretty much confident because everything was happening under his control. And confidence only comes from experience, from knowing the system will hesitate. Survivors spoke years before the public cared. Complaints existed, investigations were stalled, deals were made, time just passed, and every delay reinforced the same lesson. This behavior is survivable if you have power. And that's not a system failing, that's actually a system choosing who it protects. And notice how language is used to soften what actually happened. She agreed, she came back, she survived, she was paid. Why is she complaining? But can we just be honest here for a second? A child navigating fear, money, age, and authority is not making a free choice. A child adapting to power is surviving. And pedophilic mentality depends on pretending those two things are the same. Because if you admit there was no consent, then you have to admit something far worse, that adults, institutions, and systems allow sexual violence against children to continue because stopping it was inconvenient. Maybe they didn't want it. Why didn't she leave? Why didn't she say no? Why did she wait? As if fear doesn't freeze people, as if being young doesn't distort judgment, as if power doesn't warp reality. This isn't confusion, it's avoidance. Now, here's where this stops being just about this Epstein guy. If this mentality were truly rare, it wouldn't feel so familiar. So, why does it feel familiar? Think about how often we see the same logic repeated in films and media. In Lolita, an adult man's obsession with a child is framed as tragic, complex, artistic, while the child's lack of agency is blurred and sexualized. The audience is trained to focus on his inner conflict and not her exploitation. In Call Me By Your Name, the imbalance is softened by calling the younger character mature, introspective, ready. That framing matters because it mirrors the exact excuse predators use. This child understands this child is different. Different to what? In American Beauty, a grown man fantasizing about a teenage girl is presented as a midlife crisis, and we are supposed to empathize with this. His desire is humanized, and her youth is aestheticized. I mean, what? So, these films don't create pedophiles, but they absolutely normalize the mental shortcuts pedophiles rely on. Youth becomes desirable, power becomes complicated instead of dangerous, and imbalance stops looking like a problem. So, when someone like Epstein exploits that logic in real life, it doesn't feel alien. It feels like an extreme version of something we have already been taught to tolerate. That's why survivors are doubted so easily. Because culturally, we already expect young people, especially girls, to manage adult desire without adult power. Now come back to Epstein with that in mind. The mentality here is very clear. It's a belief that a child's discomfort doesn't matter. That confusion can be used because they are powerless, voiceless, nobody would care. That silence is predictable. That consequences are a timing issue, not a moral one. This isn't about losing control. This is about entitlement. Entitlement to bodies, entitlement to silence, entitlement to time. And the most disturbing part of all of this, Epstein never behaved like someone who thought this would destroy him. He behaved like someone who had already learned the rules. Power delays justice, money refrains harm, and children or teens are the least protected narratives in any room. So, the real lesson here isn't hidden in leaked files or just speculation. It's right in front of us, in front of our eyes. If sexually abusing children can be treated as a risk worth taking, and sometimes a risk worth winning, then removing one man doesn't solve the problem. It just teaches the next one how careful they need to be. And that's exactly what's happening around the world. And that's the thought we should sit with.